Be sure to like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not. I've also created a separate Instagram account for a radical relationship as well. So hop on over to the gram and hit that follow. And so I'm not just the curl gods are in your favor. Hey y'all, the lesson for today is all right, friends, hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, A Radical Relationship, where we are talking all things faith and all things, you guessed it, lifestyle, y'all. And today is gonna be a little bit more on the lifestyle side, but no way I can talk about life without talking about faith. So some of that is gonna be included as well. Here at A Radical Relationship, we are all about helping women to grow in their relationship with God through self-examination first. I just firmly believe that you gotta start digging deep on the inside to even figure out where to go in different areas of our lives. And so today I'm going to spend some time talking about full-time job and entrepreneurship, the journey, okay? Because I have just sort of looked up and found myself here. And I haven't seen a lot of content just about existing in this space. So I thought I'll create it then. So here we are. All right, so full-time job and entrepreneur, how's it going? So I wanted to start out with sort of giving y'all the backdrop. I don't really talk a lot about what I do professionally, so that might help. So the backdrop is, growing up, I always thought that I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Me and my family would always joke about like me having people sit on my couch, how my family was gonna be my first clients when I started to do counseling and therapy. And so once I got to college, you know, the conversations around being a psychologist versus a psychiatrist, and that difference between the two being mainly a psychiatrist being a step further and being able to prescribe medicine. And so I get to college and I was gonna go pre-med, and thinking about going pre-med, it was really the dollar signs that were enticing. Took a couple science classes, quickly realized my brain don't work like that. It does not work like that. So I say, you know what, I'm really just gonna have to follow my heart and my passion. I just can't chase the dollar signs, and I'll just have to figure out the rest just sort of as I go. Dropped the pre-med, majored in psychology with a minor in child and family studies, and I'll just chalk that up to, I know I'm gonna have to do more schooling, majoring in psychology. So I decide to stick with that route. Graduation comes up December 2013. I applied to graduate programs to do higher ed administration. So during my time in college, I worked 2 jobs. I worked as a student advisor in the College of Arts and Sciences, and then I also worked in career services as well. So between those 2 jobs, I was helping students like map out their plan for graduation, and then helping upperclassmen apply for jobs, upload resumes to our database, which was called Hire of All, where different alumni where they could like put themselves out there for different alumni of the organization, their resumes and things like that, helping them perfect their resumes, giving them tips and advice on, you know, based on the job that they're going after, keywords to use on their resumes, how to market themselves, that kind of thing. So with doing that and really like enjoying it, I applied to master's programs in higher ed administration. And all throughout college, when asked just like what I want to do, I'm like, I just want to help people, and I want to be in business. Like, I don't really know where the business world meets just the helping people world, but I know I want to be a businesswoman. and I like want to talk to people and just help people, but there was no like career field on paper that just like made sense to me as a perfect blend of those two worlds. So I applied to a few graduate programs, got accepted to a few, and ultimately committed to UVA, University of Virginia, in their higher ed administration program. I also didn't have any debt from undergrad. I went to the University of Tennessee on a full ride. So I was like more than happy to accrue some debt for a master's program. It'll be worth it. Now I worked in career services, as I mentioned. So I'm out there on the site one day, come across a job posting that seems people-y and seems businessy. So I apply. It was a job in sales, and I'm like, it says sales, but as I read the description, it sounds like something I might be interested in, despite my turnoffs to the idea of sales. It's the only job that I apply for because I have a degree in psychology. So I'm like, chances may be slim, but we gonna go for it. Apply for the job, get an interview on campus. Interview goes great. I'm highly interested. Now I need to wait to hear back from them on if I'll get a second interview. I get a second interview down in Tampa, Florida, where there's like 8 to 10, there's like maybe upwards of 30 of us interviewing, but we're competing for like 8 to 10 spots. So it's competitive. There ain't enough spots to go around for everybody. Go down there, do the interview, and I distinctly remember getting back on the plane in Tampa, heading back to Memphis, and calling my mom to say, Mom, if I get this job offer, I feel it in my spirit that like I need to take it. Like I'm gonna have to turn UVA down. And so my mom is a little like, so you're not gonna get your master's degree? And I'm like, nope. Like they paying me good money out of college. They'll pay for me to go back to get my master's degree, so I actually wouldn't have to accrue any student debt. I love the job. I love the culture. I love the people. Like this just feels right. Get the job offer and I take the job. And that's still what I'm doing today. So I take the job offer with Cigna in sales, and it is a great blend of both worlds of the people-y and the businessy. So doing my job in sales is all about connecting with people. I distinctly remember hearing so many times people do business with people they like. And so making the personal connections are a huge part of my job, and then delivering on the back end of the practicals as well. It's in health insurance, so there's a lot of practicals that I do not care to go into. But building the relationship is key, and then delivering on the practicals in the back end of the day-to-day is also very important. So I had the blend of my both worlds, making good money right out of school with there being a high ceiling for the potential to earn more. I got to travel and entertain, and then they would also pay for me to go back to school. So I worked for 2 years. I think it was 2016 before I decided to pursue my master's degree. So in between that time, I didn't want to like immediately go back into a master's program because I was like, okay, well, now that I'm making money, I have some time to actually think about what I actually want to do. So I spent some time exploring my interests, talking to different people in different fields to figure out, you know, listen to what I'm saying and tell me if any career path comes to mind. And talking to a few people, the field of organizational and industrial psychology came up. Organizational psychology really being about the psychology in the workplace, how to keep employees engaged, how to retain employees, how to keep their motivation up, and all about organizational culture. Okay, that really appealed to me. It would be a way that I could impact personal lives, but from an organizational level. And so because I was going to be working with HR teams, CEOs, then I would have the business aspect as well. So boom, find a master's program online that is accredited, that enables me to do my job, which is demanding as far as my time, but still be able to do my master's degree completely online. I did not have the flexibility to be able to go and sit in a class for a set time frame each week because my job was just too all over the place for that. Boom, great, gets it done. And in pursuing my master's degree, I get engaged, I plan a wedding and get married. I took my master's program allowed you up to 6 months. You could do like up to 6 months off without having to like reapply to the program. So there was a time period where I took that 6 months off, both to rest and to just like reaffirm that this is what I want to do. After that 6 months, hop right back in, knocked out the second half of the program, got my degree, boom. What am I about to do with it? I don't know. And so from that point, I start to think about ways that I can incorporate what I do on my job, which there were there was a lot of correlation since I was working with HR teams on my job of how I could incorporate what I had learned and some of my passions through my master's program. Okay, so I knocked that out. I get that accomplished. I am going through all of the personal things in my life, and once my divorce starts to happen, it really just starts to trigger something in me to just really start questioning what's next, but also like just what do I really want out of life, which I'm sure is probably natural going through that situation. So I take some time to pray about it and put it before God, and life coach is what I hear. So I'm like, okay, that had never really crossed my mind, but as I start to think about life coaching, it's really the organizational consulting ish that my master's degree is in, but on a much more personal level. Now keep in mind as well, in majoring in psychology and then getting rebaptized in 2014 and doing Bible studies with women after that, I always said that like I want to do ministry. I don't think that looks like working for a church full time. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but I know I want to do ministry. I know I want to like spend my days in the lives of women, helping them to grow in their relationship with God and progress. But I don't think that that looks like working for a church. So that's also in the back of my mind, like, how is all of this going to come together? And so he impresses life coaching upon my heart. I apply to, I start to research certification programs online, find one that really just speaks to me and their values and what they're about, really resonates with me. Apply to the program, accepted into the program, boom, I'm about to start my life coaching certification. So here's the thing. So I say that like God bamboozled me into going into business. He bamboozled me because for some reason, when life coaching was placed on my heart, I didn't think about creating a business. I guess I just thought about it as like getting a degree and then like I would find a job doing it. But once I started the life coaching program, the curriculum was actually, we're going to train you how to be a life coach, but we're going to also show you how to build your business, brand, market, all of that as a life coach. And I'm like, oh, wait. I was not thinking about this. And now we're talking about target market and developing your niche and coming up with your brand and figuring out, what mediums of communication you want to use and developing your email list and hold up. I just wanted to be a life coach. I didn't really think about how that was going to happen, but now my worlds are starting to come together because I already have the Radical Relationship brand out there in the universe from when I started my blog, was doing the content on my personal page, started my YouTube channel. So that was already there. Now this whole life coaching thing is starting to feel like ministry. It's starting to feel like me being able to be in the lives of women every day and help them grow in their relationship with God. So it's all coming together, but it didn't look crystal clear to me. So that's where we are today. I have finished the life coaching program. I'm in the works of submitting for the actual certification so I can call myself a certified life coach. That's a whole different story. Life coaches don't necessarily have to be certified. That's your preference. I prefer to be certified. So I'm in the process of applying for that, but I'm also still working my full-time job. And so the thing that has made it a little bit convoluted is that I don't feel called to leave my job. I've prayed about it. I definitely have. And I don't feel called to leave my job yet. And so I'm like, okay, so I have to figure out how to do both. And there are definitely ways that I feel like God is using my job in corporate America to teach me, mold me, and really prepare me for this life of entrepreneurship. So what am I learning? One, I have to embody the mindset first. There are days that I had to wake up and say, hey, Shell, you're doing both. This is your life now. You have a job in corporate America and you are building your own business. You are an entrepreneur. I'm a what? The imposter syndrome kicks in. It's very real. It's like, can I call myself an entrepreneur? You know, like it sounds like so much more that I think of myself as. And so I will have to wake up and tell myself, hey, you're building a business. That's true. And you work a corporate job. That's true. You do both. Okay, still working on developing that mindset, because one of the things that's happened is that COVID has made it possible for me to do both, because we now realize the access that we have to people virtually, whereas there may have been barriers there before trying to connect only in person and make this happen. And so I was fortunate enough, and I am fortunate enough to work for a company that is very forward thinking in their culture, in how they treat their employees. And so I was able to have a conversation with my manager to really just say, hey, everything about this job is going great. I also have this thing over here with life coaching that I'm doing and pursuing. That's really where my passion lies, and I really want to figure out how I can make both happen. And he's basically like, okay, well, let's figure out how to make both happen. So I'm very fortunate with that. So with that, second thing that I'm learning, I have to figure out what my commitment and what my best looks like right now, because slow progress is still progress. So, you know, people would be like, okay, so how's it gonna work? And I'm like, I'll let you know when I figure it out, because I don't know. I'm starting this life coaching thing. I'm doing it in the meantime and in between time, some evenings and weekends, and I'm just gonna start and see how my clientele grows and continue to figure it out as I go. I don't have a set. I do life coaching during these hours and my corporate job during these. I don't have that. I'm literally figuring it out as I go, and slow progress is still progress, because I felt like, okay, I need the website now, and I need to figure out my target market now, and I need to have my niche narrowed down now, and I need to have my magnetic marketing message down now. I just, you know, I need to, and it's like, I'm figuring it out. I'm building the life as I go. I don't have all the pieces in a row, but as I'm going and I'm maneuvering and I'm seeing what works and doesn't work, that's allowing me to solidify different things as I go. The third thing that I'm learning is to give myself lots of grace, because it is mentally exhausting, especially having the corporate job. You flipping on hats consistently, and all of it revolves around people. And so, you know, doing all of this in faith and having the Bible as my standard, there are values that come along with how I show up to do my work, you know, giving my working as unto God, giving my best in every area, which is hard, because like, as I'm getting excited about this life coaching thing, then I start to lose interest in the corporate job thing. And I'm like, wait, but like, I love what I do. I love my job. So what's going on over here? So I got to flip back and I got to figure out like how to continue showing up here and what it is that I love about this and all of the positives, and continue to give my best there. And so I'm like going and going and going, trying to create content, you know, and still answering calls for the corporate job, just like making it happen. And so just gracing myself with like, girl, it's mentally exhausting. I'm giving a lot of my time and energy to a lot, especially going through the coaching program. It was 16 weeks. And so on top of my corporate job, I'm exhausting a whole nother level of the same type of energy on this new venture over here that I care about and God is placing vision in my heart about. And so I want to give my best to that as well. So I want to answer for y'all, you know, what does balance look like right now? One, so right now, the way that I'm going about it is that I'm able to block my calendar at a certain time to focus on the life coaching things and commit to that time. And part of that is also being able to say, work is always going to be there. Work is always going to be there. Somebody going to always need something. I will be replaced if I leave. I'm not going to work myself to death. You know, I'm not going to embrace that mentality. I'm going to allow myself to spend time pursuing the things that are near and dear to my heart as well. And I'm fortunate enough to be a part of an organization that wants that for me too. So I block my calendar. Hey, from this time to this time, I do that. From this time to this time on these days of the week, I do that. And I am trusted to just get my job done and to make it all work. So that's really great. Also, like continuing to embody the mindset that like I get to do both. Not I have to do both, or oh my God, I want to leave my job, or oh my God, but I get to do both, which for me personally truly is the best of all worlds. I've always said I want to do some psychology and some business. So I get to do both. I get to have these realms coexist that have enough similarity to not drive me crazy, and I get to show up for God in both spaces and truly enjoy it. So, and I think that's huge because, you know, how can I say this? I think that's huge because you don't always get to just quit your job and focus on the passion thing. You know, it don't just always happen like that for everybody where they have the ability to do that. So you are figuring out how to do both. And for me personally, not do both half-heartedly. Like I need to show up because again, I'm working as unto the Lord. So I have to continue to go after embodying that mindset, and that's a huge part of the balance. It's almost like a new identity for me. Like, wow, I'm a life coach now. Okay, I've never been a life coach before, and I'm also, you know, I also have this job in sales over here for this company. Okay, so this is the first time in my life that I'm having to figure out how to do both. This is the first time that I'm a life coach. It really is sort of figuring out this whole new identity, this whole new world that I've never had to navigate, because now I'm taking on this whole new role. So, you know, I would just say grace yourselves with that. I will probably have to do a separate video on, you know, the different like questions that I've had to answer to really create the conviction in me that sustains me in doing both. What is it that lies deep within that keeps me going in both arenas? Because that's important. You all, and I'll continue to say this, I've done videos on this, you have to get back to the why. You always have to get back to the why. So what's my future hope? That's what I'll end with. Honey, who knows? I think, you know, in a perfect world, eventually I can do full-time life coaching because it's going to grow into that. That could be 5 years from now. That could be 10 years from now when I'm hitting 40 and still in my prime. I don't know. I'm on this adventure and this journey, just kind of taking things one step at a time. I'm paying attention to the opportunities that come my way and the conversations that are being had just in my day-to-day, because I feel like little by little God keeps giving me pieces to the puzzle and just remaining obedient in the right now. And as of right now, I do my corporate job, and I'm really dedicated to that, and I enjoy it, and I want to be the best. And I also do life coaching, and I'm committed to that, and I want to be the best, and I want to continue to see how God continues to just develop the path and take me on this adventure. So I just wanted to share some insight about that, because I don't talk a lot about my job. I don't talk a lot about these kinds of things, and I do think that there is some women out there who are on similar paths that I've seen either in my following and also that I follow as well, that I thought could benefit from just hearing some of my thoughts, so that you understand that you're not alone, and hopefully maybe in some ways feel prompted by the Holy Spirit and some things to think about, consider, and be praying about, so that you can show up as your best in this area as well. So hopefully that helps somebody, y'all. Be sure to like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not. I've also created a separate Instagram account for A Radical Relationship as well. So hop on over to the gram and hit that follow button. But until next time, folks, we are out. Bye, y'all.